What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another MMA superstar. Today we get to talk to Christian Lee, the one championship lightweight champion. He's going to be fighting at 1 on Prime Video 4, Abbasov versus Lee. Why is the champion listed second? That's because he's challenging for the welterweight title. He wants champ status. What's going on, Christian? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you guys for having me.
It's always a pleasure. And aside from champ status, what else are you accomplishing by moving up and challenging yourself to try and get another belt? Is there something else hidden deep within your soul as to why you want to do this, or is it as simple as, hey, I just want to be one of those champs?
Well, when I started off my MMA career, my first goal was always to be a world champion, and then second, always right behind it, was to become a world champion in the second division. I always wanted to win two. So when the opportunity presented itself to fight for a second world title, to fight for the welterweight belt, it was just too good of an opportunity to pass up. So I'm very excited to have this opportunity.
You know, we've seen this before, so it's not like the first time, right? But one that stands out recently is John Jones. Now, it's not apples to apples because, to be fair, he's going to go up from 205 to the weight limit of 265. Anywhere in between is where the heavyweights can compete. Now, yours is still 15 pounds, and so it's not like 25 going to 35 or 35 going to 40. You're going 55 to 70. And I know you guys use the hydrated system, but just to kind of, for it to make sense out of the domestic audience that listens to the show. And here's the thing, Christian, you're doing this like you only fought in August. So it's not like we can say, oh man, he had time to pack on the muscle or anything like that. Whereas John Jones is on some 3-year project, and it's almost been 3 years since he's fought. So there you go. Well, it's so quick. I mean, is this enough time for you to be a proper welterweight?
Well, I'm just taking the same mindset, the same approach that I took in my my first fight at lightweight. When I moved up from featherweight to lightweight, it was also straight away for the title. And in that fight, I wasn't so much focused on my weight. I wasn't focused on being a big guy in the lightweight division. My main focus was on, keeping my speed, of course, allowing myself to naturally float up to the weight class limit. But just trying to be faster than ever, stronger than ever, continuing to work on my cardio so that I was able to have a good gas tank. And that's the same thing I'm doing for this fight camp. I'm not worried about being a bigger guy or about being a smaller guy. I'm just training as hard as I can. I've got a great room of guys, great training partners pushing me in this fight camp. So I think the key to this fight for me is going to be the preparation. It's not going to come down to who's heavier or lighter there.
Christian, this might be a reach, but maybe I'm onto something. I don't know. You're 24 years old, correct?
Yes.
So about 15 years ago, 17 years ago, you would have been 9, 7. By any chance, does this have to do with the inspiration of one BJ Penn, fellow Hawaiian who moved up and fought Matt Hughes and made it look easy? He didn't bulk up. He was just a smaller guy like you, but he was quicker. And I mean, he mauled Hughes. He did it real quick. Do you remember the fight? And by any chance, at that time, did you say anything like, man, I'd love to do something like that too?
Yeah, I remember that fight actually. And if you see, BJ Penn is a good example. He didn't care if he was bigger or smaller. He just went in there and he fought. And that's one thing that I have a lot of respect for is guys like BJ, all the old-time fighters. We look at the fighters before there was weight classes. Guys like, I know he's Shinya's coach. If you guys remember his name, Yuki Kondo.
Yeah.
Sure. He went up and he fought heavyweights, and I think he was like a natural flyweight. So I have so much respect for the old time fighters who would just go up and fight anyone, no matter what weight they were. And that's kind of the same mindset that I'm taking into this fight.
Have any of those fighters ever reached out to you? Have you ever met one of them, and have they ever shared like a good piece of advice?
No, I haven't. Actually, I haven't come across or met too many fellow fighters or old timers. Um, but I watch a lot of tape, so I like to study fights. I like to learn from guys who have been in the ring and who've done well and found a lot of success, and try to mirror their success and see what it is that made them special.
Is there a bit of a relief to be
Goes, can I
able
jump in
to?
for a second?
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that, but I just wanted to kind of keep it in frame with what Goes was asking. I was going to ask it later, but I thought it made sense now. I saw on your Instagram, you guys working at United MMA. Mackie Patolo, who we see here from time to time at Extreme Couture, he's there. And I've often wondered, if there's ever been cross, even if it's just one time or whatever, with you and Max's team, right? And I noticed Max liked that picture. So A, has that ever happened? And B, could he have been anyone that could ever tell you? Because he tried it, he was unsuccessful, but he tried it. So yeah, it's kind of like with what Goes was saying. Any chance you guys have run in and chatted about that topic?
Yeah, actually, me and Max, we did quite a few camps together throughout the years. Him and his coach Rylan, they've come into the gym. I've gone into their gym, and we train hard. We exchange technique, and we've also gotten into talking about both of our fight psychologies and how we approach our fights and our training camps, and just a great guy, very smart fighter, and yeah, we've gotten a lot of great training together over the years.
George, are you transmitting with your Dragon Ball Z filter on, or what's with your hands and
Sorry.
these balls of light?
No, you know what? It's the sun is going down here in Vegas. So I closed all the blinds, but I think some of it is peeking through.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right. Hey, Christian, so is there a little bit of relief of not having to train for the same guy again? I mean, does that kind of liven things up a little bit in practice?
Yeah, it's nice having a new opponent. For 2 years, I was preparing to fight Okra Yoon. So yeah, it is nice to have a new opponent and just a new challenge entirely. Instead of fighting for the lightweight belt and having a rematch, I'm facing a completely different competitor in Abbasov.
Christian, I know that you guys do a lot of tape study, but sometimes, fighters tell us as soon as that fight starts, man, it's so hard to stick to that game plan because you get wrapped up in that moment, right? How difficult is it for you when you get to that moment and, we lands that first punch or you land that first punch to not just throw the playbook out the window and stay focused?
Well, early on in my career, I started fighting at a real young age. Um, it was hard to stick to a game plan. A lot of times when I went into my fights, it was just pure aggression. Just it was just a street fight, basically. I didn't even have time to think when I was in there. I didn't even know what was going on until after I was leaving the stadium. But now, 20 fights in. Um, I've been in the fight game for a few years now. I'm able to just be calm, just approach my fight like the same way I do in training. I'm able to think through the moment. I'm able to remember my strategy and just keep a clear mind. And I think that's what has helped lead to my success in recent years.
Christian, what you've done already is pretty amazing, but what you may pull off is even bigger. But at a young age, are you able to kind of take all that in now and feel every second of just how big what you've done is? Or you feel like that's something later on in life when you look back might hit you more than?
Yeah, I think it's something I'm gonna save for later on. Probably I'm gonna save that for when I retire and I'm done fighting. Because right now, when I'm actively fighting, when I'm in the moment, um, I don't I don't think of myself as anything. I always look at myself as the underdog, as the challenger, and I always feel like I need to be working harder. So I'm never going to be satisfied with my performance until I've hung up my gloves and I'm done fighting.
I was chuckling because you said something about where you've been in, fight or flight mode so much that as you're exiting the stadium, you're barely able to recall what happened. Was that just in particular for this one fight, or is that just you? Like it takes you a while to come down from, I guess being primal.
No, yeah, like early on in my career, 17 years old, fighting in packed stadiums, and against guys much older than me. I was very nervous. I had a lot of nerves, and a lot of my fights were just pure adrenaline. Just going in really like a street fight, letting my instincts take over. And it wasn't until recent years actually when I started finding more success, starting in the lightweight division, that I was able to calm down, have a clear mind, and get rid of that mentality of just going in there and fighting and throwing everything out the window.
Wow, 17 packed stadiums. I can imagine, man, what that must have been like. Kiamrian Abbasov recently attempted to do what you did. He attempted to go up, but RDR checked him. And so what do you think? Israel Adesanya, he tried to move up and fight Jan Blachowicz. Have you ever observed either those two athletes and just seen, like, do you think the fighter, maybe when they're coming back, this might be the time to pick them off, because they are technically coming off a loss, or I'm sure there's some sort of a letdown. What have you observed over time in situations like that?
I think when you look at fights like that, like the two fights you just mentioned, Adesanya going up to fight for the 205 belt, and you look at Abbasov going up to fight De Ridder for his belt as well. It's not so much that they lost the fight because they were a smaller fighter or because the other guy was bigger or heavier. I think that they lost the fight because the other fighter was better on that night. I think that even if De Ridder was to fight Abbasov at welterweight, if he was able to make that weight limit, I think that he would have still won the fight. So then it comes down to just being a better fighter on that given night and having a better strategy. So De Ridder just closed the distance, was able to take him down and out grapple him in every round until he got the finish. So when you see fights like that, I don't think it's because and the challenger is losing going up in weight. I don't think it's because they're a smaller fighter. I think it's more that the champion in the weight division above them is just better.
Now, just to push back a little bit, Christian, because of course I respect your opinion, but you wouldn't say that maybe Blachowicz, I mean, that he's obviously rehydrating to maybe 230 or something like that. He's a pretty big guy. Israel, as you know, I think weighed in like at 202, 203. He didn't even maximize the weight limit there. And at 85, he's just been so difficult to take down, and yet Blachowicz was able to do that. You don't think size maybe had to do anything with those key takedowns?
I have a lot of respect for Israel Adesanya. I think he's a great fighter. But I still stand by my opinion. And going back, if you look at a lot of fighters that had success early on, back when there was bigger weight margins in the divisions, you see smaller guys giving up a lot of weight and just tearing through guys. You see guys in the jiu-jitsu scene who are small guys fighting in open weight, and they're still able to do extremely well and beat a lot of big guys. So I'm a firm believer that the most important thing in a fight is your skill and just your desire to win and how ready you are for the fight. So I guess I'm gonna have to prove my theory and put it to show on the night of the fight. But I really believe that the fight is all just based on who's a better fighter.
There you go. All right. One last thing here. I hate to bring this up, but I think it's relevant. So many, I would say 75% of people that I spoke to who either saw your sister's fight or the scores that I saw floating around Twitter had her winning. Obviously she was trying to do something legendary like what you're trying to do. How long does it take for, and I know you're different people, but I imagine you might even be more nervous when she fights than when you fight. So how long does it take to come down from that you personally, as a family, be able to shake it off and then just start to refocus on the new task, which right now you're the next fight coming up. You're the new task.
Well, I was, first of all, I was extremely proud of my sister's performance. I thought that she did great. I thought she fought really hard, and she definitely showed in that fight that she wanted to win the fight more. She was pushing for the finish. I think she dominated rounds 2 to rounds 5. And it's unfortunate the way that the fight went. But it is what it is. I'm happy that Angela is at peace with it. She's not letting it bring her down. And she knows that she fought hard and that she won that fight. So, there really wasn't too much negativity after she came back. She was in good spirits. So I was happy just to see that she was okay. She didn't have any injuries at all. And after that, I was actually preparing for this fight even before she left for hers. So between my sister and I, we've been fighting. We started fighting so young, and we both started our careers around the same time. So we know how the fight game works, and we're able to just put everything aside and get to work when it's time to work. So although I really was hoping that the decision would go her way, it is what it is. And I think that if Angela was to fight her again, I believe that she would win and she would finish her if they were to fight a 4th time. But other than that, I'm just happy that she's okay. There's no injuries that she took, and I was able to get right into training for my fight.
I would love to see a 4th and 5th fight between Zhang and Angela Lee for sure. One championship actually made the 4th fight between Arlovsky and Tim Sylvia happen under their banner. So they're open to it, I imagine, because I've seen them do it. So I would love to see that. But I'm glad that you saying that she's good and she's at peace. Because I agree with you, man. I thought she took down enough rounds to win that fight and have her hand raised. All right, last question for me, and then goes as one silly one for you. The question I have for you is, as the Lee family's growing, we have a new generation come in. What do you think? Is the blueprint going to be the same? Get them in martial arts, maybe a future. Get them in martial arts and maybe a future in mixed martial arts, or would you maybe try and form new paths for the next generation?
Well, my wife and I, we run United MMA, so I'm in the gym teaching every day. I think it's going to be natural that my daughter's going to grow up to learn how to defend herself, and she's definitely going to train in martial arts. But whatever she grows up and wants to do, I will support her. But I'm really hoping and praying that she doesn't want to be a fighter, because that's the last thing that I would want for her.
Now you know what you guys are putting your dad through every time you guys go in there and compete. But that's why I asked, because it's a really, really crazy game. But you guys are doing as great as I've ever seen. Obviously there's the legendary Gracie family, man, but respect to the Lees and everything you've done. All right, Goes doesn't want to ask a silly question. I'm going to ask it. I asked you this before. Christian Lee. Now we got to update the names, all right? Roush Manfio is the latest lightweight champion at PFL. We have Patricky Pitbull, and then we also have Islam Makhachev. Remember I asked you this? There was a whole bunch of other names. If you 4 competed, who's in the finals, and can you take that tournament down between the 4 major champions?
I think if you were to put the 4 of us in one tournament, I think for sure it would be me and Islam in the finals. I have a lot of respect for Islam. He had a great performance in capturing the lightweight title, but I believe that I would win that fight for sure.
As always, thanks for the time, Christian. We really appreciate it. It's always great connecting with you. Good luck with the rest of your camp. Safe weight cut. Go out there and get that second belt.
All right. Thank you, guys. Good talking with you.